6 minutes after 9. Good morning to you listening to DBS Radio, Independence Radio, World Creole Music Festival Radio, World Food Day Radio. The list goes on. It is the 16th day, the month of October. It's also it should have been the birthday of the late Ted Daly today, World Food Day. Shout out to Heffy. World Food Day, a day which holds a lot of significance for us in Dominica, especially when you consider that we have so much fertile land on this island, but we also concern ourselves with what's happening in some parts of the world, because we know that malnutrition, food scarcity, and these things continue for many, and sometimes we take things for granted. We have food and we can throw away food. But there are people who have not seen food for days. There are children, imagine, who have not seen food for days. So we are not only placing focus on this on World Food Day, things like that should concern us all throughout the year. But obviously, there's a day set aside, World Food Day, and Dominica, of course, always, joins in the observance in a big way. We always have a list of activities to run through, and today is just one of them. We have a discussion, World Food Day. So stay tuned, and we will just introduce our guests in a short while. Okay, so let's just get the introductions. And as I said, it's a busy day today. Right after this discussion, we'll be bringing you live coverage of the first part of the national consultation at the UE Open Campus, the Creole consultation, I must say. And we are happy that we can bring this live as well. And there's also the Ministry of Environment program on as well. Wesley High School is observing its 99th anniversary, so DBS Radio is looking to see how we can partner with them on this initiative as well, and to bring some of the highlights on social media. So there's a lot happening today, and it's good that DBS can capture a lot as we celebrates as well our 47th anniversary as an independent nation. So as we said, World Food Day really raises global awareness of, or raises awareness more so of global and global food insecurity, malnutrition. So we mentioned that there are people in the world who have not seen food for days. There are children who are starving, dying from malnutrition. We want to raise some focus on that as well. But let me go to Studio 2 and bring on our guests, and then we will start off with the discussion. Good morning, ladies. Happy World Food Day.
Good morning. Thank you.
Tell us who you are, what brings you here.
Okay, I am Mary Nistit, and I'm a nutritionist by profession. And I work together with the team for World Food Day.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dominicans. Good morning to my fishers and farmers out there. My name is Zephyr Barron. I am a fisheries liaison officer with the Ministry of Blue and Green Economy. I am also the public relations officer for the National Association of Youth in Agriculture, and I just so happen to be an agri-processor also.
So you're an all-rounder, we can call you that. Just yesterday you were on radio in Creole.
Yes.
Yes, and look at where you are today. But I see that you enjoy your job, right?
I do.
How many years now?
I have been with fisheries for 11 years, so just over a decade. I have been an agro-processor for the past 5 years, and I have been with NIA since we were reinstated on February 24th of this year.
How in terms of NIA, how vibrant is this organization? A lot of young people,
so
I'm sure.
NIA was reinstated this year in February. We have a cohort of dedicated youth we are empowering the youth in agriculture in Dominica, and our focus is strategically to help drive the force of the next generation of agricultural experts and professionals.
I like that.
And so if you're in agro-processing, if you're a farmer, if you're a fisher, and you're at the age of youth, we are your mouthpiece. We are here to try to bridge the gaps, to try to secure markets for you, to voice your concerns collectively, and to see how we can amicably come to solutions when it comes to just assisting or driving your business to the next level in a sustainable manner.
I like that because you understand your assignments.
Yes.
You like to talk, and that's very, very, very good. Keep talking, my girl. All right. So we also have Marynice teeth, and very often in society you find that many people tend to forget people who blazed the trail, people who did so much back in the day. Because you're a youth, of course, you're a young person,
of course.
Zephyra, but Marynice was young as well, and she was running up and down. I tell you, she was always on radio, you know, always taking the opportunity to disseminate information, you know, always running up and down. I of course, Marynice, you know that.
Yes,
you know
indeed.
what you did, and you
Indeed.
in one day you had about like 48 hours for you at times.
Yes, yes.
But I'm just saying that because a lot of people, or maybe some of them are listening, some of them maybe are bedridden, some of them are not well, they're not as agile as before. But we must always remember, in every strata of society, in every sector that we speak about, that there were people who blazed the trail. And I just want to say that before we
Thank
bring you
you.
on. So tell us who you are.
Okay, so Marynice Teeth again, and well, my life has been an educator, and in the last 10 years or so, I moved into the field of nutrition and have never looked back, and I am always happy to share information with anybody, with the public, and just to say that I think in Dominica, our people have a lot of information. The concern would be is whether they use the information for their benefits. But I think where nutrition is concerned and foods, I think Dominica, you know, has done very well in the years.
Definitely, I agree with you on that. So this year, of course, there's a theme. As I said, for us in Dominica, this day holds a lot of significance. And that we are blessed with fertile land. You know, food production is high on the agenda for us in Dominica as well. And so this year, the ministry is collaborating with several sectors like NAIA, I know the fishery sector, of course, several sectors, you know, combined to make this
Ministry of
big.
Education also.
Right, of
Yes.
course. And that's in line with the global theme, right? Hand
Yes.
in, what's
Yes.
it again? Hand
So-
in hand for better
So this
foods.
is hand in hand for better food
And a better
a
future.
better future.
So for you as a young person, how would you define this? What does that mean to you?
So for me, I particularly love the film this year. And hand in hand, you know, it brings us back to asking as a person within the public, as youth, as a person in the field, it brings us back to asking, what can I do? What can I do? Do I fall in line with this theme? How do I move forward in terms of developing the agricultural sector, in terms of helping the goal that my country has when it comes to a sustainable food system or food security. And so this here bridges the gap, and we are reminding everybody that if you're a farmer, if you're a fisherfolk, if you're a youth, member of civil society, government, international partners like FAO, all of us have to work together to ensure that we drive the sector to another level in terms of food and food security and World Food Day. And so for me as an agri-processor and a young person, this means that I need a primary product. I ensure that I purchase fish from someone who I know fishes sustainably or handles fish properly. Because when you talk about food security, you're also talking about preservation.
Definitely.
You're talking about the management of the soils and the persons out there in the field exposed to the elements. And so for my fisher folk, it means their post-harvest and handling practices. It also means how they choose to fish out there. For the person in the community, it means how you manage your waste. It means that you do not just take your garbage and you throw it in the nearest alum stream or river or drain. For a child who goes to school, it means that you learn how to reduce, to reuse, to recycle. For somebody who is on the farm and manages the soil, it means that you follow all of the practices that the ministry continues to teach in terms of your use of pesticides. And for the supermarket, it means, or the agro-processors again, it means that you treat the local man on the ground fairly. It means that when he gives you his produce, you you take care of it so that from farm to table, you ensure that you have a wholesome product.
Zephyr, explain to us where you are from. So it will give listeners a sense of why you speak with a sense of pride and purpose. Because from growing up, you'd have seen a lot. So just tell us.
So I'm from the fishing community of Fonsenja. And so for me, I like to say it's natural progression that I went into fisheries and agro-processing. And so I understand beyond the technical aspect, and professionally, I understand that there are persons out there in the field working tirelessly, and for them, food is not just a means of calming that growl in their stomach. For them, it is life and livelihood. This is all they know, and that is how they take care of themselves and their family. And so I have respect for the persons in the field, and I just wish that everybody would understand that we work together, especially as a small island developing state, to ensure that persons can take care of their family and they can take pride in their life and livelihoods, while we do so in an effort to just secure our food channels as a small island.
Marinistite, you yourself came from a community, of course, fishing community as well. So you know about the food.
Where my dad was a fisherman.
Okay, so tell us about that. I just want to tie in where, how you grew up to, what is happening now.
Indeed, fish was, a normal staple on our plate at home, because Daddy was a fisherman and would go out very early to fish, what they call pen de jour or something like that. I don't remember the correct term. And would bring in the fish, sell some, and take the rest home. So we always had fish. We grew up on fish. I saw how fish was dried over the wood, the
shady bala.
Yes, I saw that, and growing up in a big family, so it was a lot of fish that we had to prepare. So fish means a lot to me, and I think food in general means a lot to me. That is why that theme is so important for not just me and Zephyr, but also for all of us. And when we think of things happening hand in hand, it means that you cannot do it alone. It means that you need a variety of people to contribute to making food healthy and for making food available for the future.
It has to be a national effort.
A collaboration.
It has to be a worldwide collaboration.
Yes.
I was doing some research this morning. I was just reading up, and I saw on the international media that today it calls for renewed global collaboration among government organizations, sectors and communities. So it's a just holistic approach we have to take to this.
Indeed.
Yeah, and this is important because sometimes we don't think about our food in the sense of where it comes from. Yes, most of our food comes from local, from Dominica, but we have to be cognizant of what's happening on the other side of the world that can affect our food, that can affect our food safety, that can affect our food security. So all the wars and all the downturns in the economies and so on, all these can affect our food supply, and we have to be conscious of that. And I think I heard this one, don't waste food. I mean, sometimes we just waste food, but if we think of just Gaza, in recent times, and how you see children with pots, it really touched me to see children with pots that we would throw away, holding on to that to just get a little bit of food. We would be a little more, sensitive towards the food that we have been gifted with in this country.
Where does proper nutrition stand in all of this?
Proper nutrition?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell us about the role of nutrition, proper nutrition more so.
Yeah, definitely. People need to be aware that food is not just food. I just put dashing fig, lentils, carrots on a plate. You have to be conscious that this is the food that's going to provide the important nutrients for your well-being. On the other hand, if you do not make the conscious effort to balance the foods that you eat and to make the correct choices, the right choices, the healthy choices, then, you could be defeating the purpose of food providing nutrition for us. And I want to say a little bit about malnutrition, because it all relates to food as well. And maybe about a decade or so ago, we would think of malnutrition as just these little children with the big head and the big stomach, shiny skin, dry skin. But we do have malnutrition when we see in our population people who are overweight and people who are obese. This is a form of malnutrition because it means that we are taking in excess more than what the body can actually utilize. And if our physical activity is not up to mark, then it shows. Okay? And on the other end of the spectrum, you have the real malnutrition in the sense of undernutrition, where children are stunted. You know, before we used to say children are wetty, they didn't grow enough, you know, for their age. Right, so you have children who are stunted, you have children who are wasting. They do not have enough weight for their height. So they are 20 pounds, but they, you know, just very, very short. And also you have the undernutrition where there's just not sufficient weight for the person's age. Okay? And you also have situations where there are very important nutrient deficiencies in the diet, and this is another form of malnutrition as well. So malnutrition is broad, but if we consciously look at the foods that we have, and thank God in Dominica we have great food, it's just that sometimes we don't use it wisely, we don't prepare it in the best of ways, because these days you know, it's a lot of frying and stuff like that. I'm not criticizing frying, but I'm saying we need to have the balance, and we need to encourage people to eat this important food that God has given to us, to eat it in a more healthy and a more sustainable way, because sometimes we just discriminate and, you know, just throw food away.
Now there's a steadfast dedication by the ministry responsible to advance sustainable food production. So a lot has been done, a lot continues to be done. I remember even last year, I think there was a ceremony at the State House on World Food Day, and even before that, by an organization, and it just gives you the sense that so many people are involved in agriculture, young people, the older folks as well, but we are placing emphasis on them, so we are recognizing them as well. This year the program is somewhat different. I understood sometime later this year as well, something will be done in that regard in terms of recognizing people, maybe sometime in December. But Zafra, from where you sit in terms of your responsibilities, what are you learning about our food production generally across the island there, across the island, not concentrated on just one area? What are you seeing generally that gives you hope that we are on the right path?
So for us, and in that light, I would like to highlight.
I'm not hearing you as clearly as I was though.
My apologies.
Yes, just bring your mic. Okay, let's go. I think it should be better now. Oh. Let's ensure that we fix this.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we talk about development when it comes to food safety, because food for us, it's not an abstract concern. We have all of our vulnerabilities. We just spoke about the global pressures, but for us as an island, you know, we have disease control. We had COVID-19 that affected our production, not only on land. I have to say that when it comes to the sea, we had our own COVID of the sea, and I had
recent storms as well.
Yes, we have our vulnerabilities when it comes to climate change. We also have vulnerabilities when it comes to disease in situ in the water. So we had the onset of stony coral tissue loss disease that affected our reefs, and we know it's a whole ecosystem down there. So the ministry, what we continue to do is help build capacity within smaller groups, the coastal communities, in the interior where you have the farmer groups. Build their capacity in terms of training, in terms of aid, in terms of the provision of materials that they're supposed to use, in terms of having programs and projects to help mitigate pests, to help mitigate the direct concerns that they have on the ground, because it is all fun and good for us to give addresses and for us to say what is affecting us, but these people on the ground require training and the knowledge in order that they manage what they're doing. So the Ministry of Agriculture, with the assistance of FAO, that I must highlight, continues to build capacity within our persons on the ground. In addition to that, I feel that we have done enough work, especially within fisheries, in terms of infrastructural development, ensuring that persons have eyes, in terms of getting people to learn and unlearn. A lot of times in learning, we forget to mention that. But the people are able to thrive if they are also willing to unlearn. We have a lot of good traditional knowledge, but as time elapses and we see new threats, we have to sometimes be willing to unlearn what we have been doing traditionally in regards to upgrading and advancing agriculture as a country. And you see us continuing to empower the youth with the cohort of persons we have in NIA, the ministry and the government, avenues provided through DYBT to empower small businesses. We are speaking sustainable packaging. We are starting to talk renewable energy. We are starting to highlight the persons on the ground who gave us a basis to get to where we are today. And so I think that as a country, especially post-Hurricane Maria, and with our sustainable development goals and us wanting to become a resilient nation, we continue to work, and we have done a lot of work towards advancing the agricultural sector.
Now you talk about the youth, and you're very young yourself. And let me say, as I say that, I could listen to you every day, even on a Sunday, and that's very good. So I now feel confident that at least the future. We are okay. We are okay when people like you continue to advocate, because it's one thing to be involved in a job, but how much do you know about what you're involved in? So that's a plus, and keep striving. I just have to say that.
I also take that moment to highlight the youth across the country, and especially NIA. We have Mr. Earl White, who is our president, and we have young persons around the island who just work with their communities, and so we appreciate you. We see what you're doing, and we encourage young persons to join NIA and to just ask a question as to how we can put a collective front into advancing ourselves.
Yes. Okay, Marini State, let us see. Let us go back a little. Let us backtrack. You were very much involved. A lot has been done. We have made advances. Just take us back to some of the things that you remember. Maybe some of the breakthroughs, if anything. If it meant going to schools more and things like that were done in the days when you were very much involved as a nutritionist.
I didn't get the first part of the question.
So I wanted you to take us back to some of the strides that we have made. Obviously, from when you were very much involved to where we are now, a lot has been done. But just remind us of some of the things that we would have done even way back when.
Okay.
On the national front as well.
Right, great. So one of the things that we did was, and that was together with FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, was to develop our dietary food guidelines. And that was in 2006. And that was very important for us because it was, and I think it was all over the Caribbean. And for Dominica, our guidelines meant so much to us in the sense that it is what should drive us to making important decisions about the foods that we eat. And so in Dominica, we have 9 of these. But importantly about these guidelines is how it was portrayed. So for us in Dominica, we had our curry basket, because it had to be something cultural. So we had our curry basket, and in the curry basket...
Because at that time we was in Carib.
Yes.
So you call it curry basket at that time.
It's Kalinago. Correct me,
okay,
thank
yes,
you.
It's Kalinago. So I just wanted to know if you're talking at that time because at that... Okay.
Yes,
Kalinago
the
basket.
Kalinago. So we had the Kalinago basket, and in that basket were the 6 food groups and all the different types of foods that we would use in Dominica.
I remember that.
And this basket was suspended by the Cicero parrot, our Cicero parrot, in flight, showing that it's not just food, physical activity is also part of it. And therefore, these guidelines pushed us towards making good decisions about starting your day with breakfast, because this is a difficult thing for a lot of people. It pushed us in the direction of ensuring that we have vegetables on our plate, at least 2-3 times a week. it pushed us to use our local ground provisions rather than the imported pastas and rice and so on. We're not saying they're not good, but because our ground provisions have more fiber and more nutrients than the rice and the pasta, then we push and we want to encourage people to eat what we grow. And at the same time, as my friend here is saying, Frunaya, grow what you eat. Okay? And all of these different foods were placed there so that we could make good choices, that we could have balanced meals, and that we could ensure that our families are healthy, that they are getting the important nutrients that they want. So that was one. The second one was the school nutrition policy that was developed. It is still on hold, but that school nutrition policy was designed to focus on the type of foods that we provide our children with at school in the school feeding program. Now, we had many challenges in the sense that you have vendors, all around the school selling all kinds of snacks. The policy was going to address that problem in the sense that we would have to, educate the vendors about what are some of the better choices of foods that you could sell around the school compound. Okay? The policy also spoke to parents and their involvement in the program, their contribution to the program. The policy also spoke about what government role would be, because they are the policy makers. And if we do not have their support, we do not have anything. So this guided the type of foods that will be prepared in the schools. And what we would have hoped is that when the children eat these healthy meals, that the parents would also prepare these meals for them at home, and then there would be continuity. So the food nutrition policy, school nutrition policy, has not been ratified, and therefore it is still on hold. But I think it is time now, because of what we are seeing in our children, the levels of obesity, the levels of overweight that we are seeing, that we need to take it right there at the school level and to deal with it. Yeah.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. If you're just joining in, welcome. We're having a discussion today, World Food Day, October 16, and we have in our studio with us from the Fisheries Division, Fisheries Officer Zephyra Baron, and who is also a representative of NIA, and she's very much involved in agriculture, in food and all of that. And we also have Mary Nistit. I had, when I was finalizing the discussion for today, I understood that Mary Nistit is a former nutritionist, but I think that once a nutritionist, always a nutritionist. So nutritionist Mary Nistit.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's really a pleasure to have you on. But Zephyra, give me an idea though, or give us an idea more. So apart from this discussion that we are having, what again is happening? What again has happened, from the days forward? I think on Saturday, there was a Youth Vibes program that focused on that. So tell us about the activities planned around this.
So, in that light, I'd also like to comment. Every year, the 4-H Club,
Oh yes.
over the years, religiously, they continue to push smart agriculture. They continue to highlight days such as World Food Day. And so we commend them. We have also an active team within the Ministry of Blue and Green Economy, and we invite persons like Mrs. Tate to help us plan the activities for such days. And so last week, Saturday, we were on the Youth Vibes. We had a representative, outreach programs.
Yeah, the representative from
the Ministry of Agriculture.
I just wanted to tie it in, so that's my daughter that was she was on Saturday, so I had to say that.
Nice. Yeah. Also, look at you involved in agriculture and pushing a young professional. Okay, so in addition to that, we have had outreach programs in schools. We like to go to the schools. The children are very receptive to the information. They go back home. They spread information.
Not to interrupt you really, but when you say the schools, do you start at the preschool level? Or
at the primary school level.
You start at the primary school level?
Mostly. We have the 4-H Club at the primary school level. We also have an officer who go within the Ministry of Agriculture, Miss Yanel Bruno. She goes out to the schools. They start gardening program, smart agriculture programs within the community, supporting their school garden gardens, soil conservation, integrated systems, blending traditional knowledge with new and improved technology. So we have that. During the week or throughout the week, we have been going to schools with a floating banner just to build the awareness for the children. And today, about an hour ago, we heard the minister's address, that is Honorable Roland Roy, to the nation. In addition to that, we are in Marigot today. So the team of agriculture is at Marigot, and we have a food expo for the Northeast students. So today we have children learning to plant, we have children participating in expo, we have Jeopardy and other forms of quizzes for them, where they win gifts that they can go back home and start their smart gardening in their backyards. And the most important thing is that they're getting a well-balanced, nutritious meal today. We like food. We take pride in food.
That's
and
good.
so the children get to enjoy that. Local food, made for them in innovative ways. And so we have a full day with our children from Atkinson and Castle Bruce and throughout the Northeast.
And it's not just talking agriculture, it's actually doing. So they will be involved with the extension officers. They will see the various steps in composting.
Yes.
Right. They're going to see the different steps in composting, and they are also going to get their plants to go home with, so that they can do their own planting.
Exactly.
Interesting. If you had to look back, just a few years back, don't even go far. Just a few years back, maybe five years to now, you'll realize that there's so much that we have done, centering around the World Food Day activity, not even waiting for October to reach, but, throughout the year, that Dominica, we take advantage of this, and this is very, very, very good for us as a people.
And as you ask about where do we begin if we start at the preschool.
Yeah.
I remember going to the preschools, and see the children involved in their little activities to do with
if you can
World Food Day
condition
as
their
well.
mind from that early, yes.
At the preschool level, though, I want to commend the teachers at the preschool. Ever so often, you see these preschoolers. They have fruit day, they have cassava day, they have avocado day, and their parents produce creative meals, innovative meals that they can take to school. So at the preschool level, it's simplified.
That's where it begins.
But yes, but they are very much exposed, and the preschool teachers are doing a very, very good job with the students.
Yeah, a lot of these things, we continue to make it part of our school system, even at the preschool level, as you said. Because I even remember when I was going to preschool, you had to bring a fruit, to talk about a fruit, or you had to draw a fruit on a piece of paper or something. So, and then I saw my children doing the same as well, on the Manila paper, fruit day and things like that. So we continue to inculcate that into our young people.
And I think, culture.
Of course, that's very good. Let's see if this person wants to share something with us on the discussion. Good morning. Hello? Okay, let's try another number. Hello? 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 Okay, I can hear my voice in the background, so you'll have to try again. But a very interesting discussion that we're having. As we said, it's October 16th, it's World Food Day, and the theme again is
hand in hand for better food and a better future.
Better foods and a better future. Give us, Mary State, a typical example of a good breakfast or lunch, maybe, a lot of times, a lot of people are very, very busy. They, so many things to do right now. You maybe have to catch the bus or start to drive early because, of the backlog of traffic. You don't have that much time to make a proper meal. Just give us an example of something quick but
the
nutritious.
First thing I want to say is that you try to have your breakfast by the latest 9 o'clock. Let us see. Make sure you have your breakfast by that time. 9 o'clock. By that time. Okay, so if you set yourself to that, you'll be able to. And I say that because the point you're making, that people are busy, they don't have time to. Nobody say you have to sit and have breakfast. You get up, you start eating the fruit. You had the fruit already. Then by the time you leave the house, you may have the bowl of cereal. And then you grab the sandwich, preferably a whole wheat bread with some lettuce and tomato and a piece of fish from last night. Bam, there's your breakfast. Okay, and you did not sit at all to have it. So the thing about the breakfast is that some people have the concept that you must sit and
Yeah.
eat, your breakfast. You don't have to if you don't have the time. You just ensure that you break that fast from the night before, and you start your day with a fruit, preferably. And if you're having a cereal, like for example you're having oats, or you're having a smoothie, that is also good. You don't have to have the bread, because the cereal, if it's an oat or cornmeal or something, or cornflakes in some cases, would take the place of the bread, because that is starch. So that is one way of minimizing or lowering the intake of too much starch. Okay, so you can have your cereal, and then that could be, it for you, for your breakfast, because you have, the main part. Then you include your protein. What protein are you going to have? Are you going to have fish? Are you going to have fish? She said fish. She said fish and fish. Okay. Right. So you're going to have fish, you're going to have a boiled egg or a scrambled egg. Whatever your protein choice, you're going to have that along with, some salad or something, because you would have already had some starch from the cereal, so you don't really have to have bread again with the protein and the salad. So simple, a lunch. I like one pot. I love one pot. So you could make a quick soup where you have your protein. You make a choice of protein, whether it is beef, chicken, whatever the case. I want to encourage people to use the beans. So lentils is quick to cook. You can put lentils in the soup. And then you have your ground provision. I would go for the ground provision more than the dumpling. But you need variety. Some people like the dumplings, so you add your dumpling. But you add your ground provisions to your soup. Okay? It doesn't have to be always white potatoes. You can also use sweet potatoes if you want. And you have your green plantains can also be part of your soup. You can include yams. We have a lot of white yams now. So that can be included in the soup. And basically, you could also add some vegetables there. You could add pumpkin, or you could add some greens. And here you have a nice, pot of soup for your lunch.
Yeah. Now, speak to the issue of cooking food for people. So you're at a restaurant, you're somewhere else selling food for people. Because there are times when you purchase food and you realize the level of salt is just too high. You buy a bottled drink, local juice, and the sugar in this is so much. So it's a festive time. We're going to have more food selling around that time. As a nutritionist, give us some guidelines. Give us some, not just the people who produce the food and then take it to the person who cooks the food, but even the people who are buying the food. So give us some guidelines there.
This is a risk we run when we make the choice to eat out. Period. That's the risk we run. You buy the food, you pay for the food, you eat it, you eat what you pay for. You cannot remove the salt, you cannot remove the sugar, you cannot remove the fat. It is already there. So then you have to think of, where do I purchase? Is this place offering me a nice steamed veg? Is this place offering me let's say a pie made out of breadfruit instead of pasta? You start asking yourself those kind of questions before you purchase. So now we're in the festive season, we should not let down our guard. We should continue with the good practices that we know. Even with a food like avocado. It is avocado season, and some people tell you they eat a whole avocado. Now these are the same people who will use mayo in a potato salad for lunch. They will also have, from morning, they would have done their eggs with margarine. So when you calculate by the end of the day how much fat you have taken in, and generally these are not healthy fats, you can see down the road what the future is like. So therefore we want to encourage people to not let down your guard. You can do as much cooking as possible at home. Try to do more cooking at home rather than out. Now if you go out to eat, be selective. Be selective in where you eat. If you are familiar with a particular place, you know the quality of their food. You know this is a place that their juice is up to mark with their levels of sugar. And sometimes they offer you unsweetened drinks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I tell
that's
people have the fruit, just eat the fruit and and drink water after, and forget about all the sugar that is going to compromise our health with obesity and the rest of it later down in life. So don't let down your guard. Two, try to do as much cooking as you can at home, okay, during the festive season. If you go out, look out for the people that you are used to eating from and you know the quality of their food. Although sometimes some of our vendors let down their guard, and just because of the crowd and because of, you know, the occasion, they sometimes let down their guard, and some of the healthy, safe practices go out of the window. But I know the environmental health department, you know, does a great job when it comes to monitoring that. So try not to have too many fried foods. Try to have some grilled foods if possible instead of fried, and try to incorporate you know, vegetables as much as possible in whatever you are going to have. And don't forget to rehydrate and to drink lots of water.
You want to come in here, Zephyr, and as I'm asking you this as well, I'm also thinking about, I mean, we have made a lot of strides in the fish vending practices, but, you know, sometimes, you know, you see things that you say, no, we have to fix this. But generally, though, how are we in that area?
Okay, so when it comes to post-harvest handling, when it comes to post-harvest handling, on the government side, we have made improvements towards infrastructure and the availability of ice around the island. We have our three main complexes, and that is Portsmouth, Marriott, and Roseau. Roseau currently provides 60% of the ice for across the island. I mean, right now we are getting more popular with all of our juice and coconut water vendors. We also facilitate them. Our priority, of course, is for our fishermen. We have seen grave improvements in fishermen going out to sea. At present, all of our boats, with exclusion of the canoes, which are much smaller boats, and we have much less percentage of them, all of our boats are equipped with a built-in cooler. This is the standard. All boats being produced, they have a built-in cooler. Our fishers go out to sea with ice. Of course, we encourage them to dig out their fish out at sea, because this prevents 50% of the spoilage process, to ensure that you get a wholesome product at the end of the day. In terms of our vending platforms, we are currently enhancing these platforms. If you would have driven to Roseau this morning, you would have seen a team at Newtown. A team of contractors at Newtown, and what they're doing is that they're enhancing the vending platform there to make it more conducive and safe for the sale of fish. At present, we also have enhancements being done at Foncole. You know, the vending platform there was in need of a much needed enhancements, so they will receive the placements of sinks, an open area that will be clean and conducive for selling, that you can come and get your fish packaged and processed, versus being out, you know, exposed to the elements on the side of the streets. We also have enhancements for Scott's Head. We have enhancements that will take place next month for the areas such as Stowe, and so it is a work in progress. Again, we have to continue to build capacity within these small fisher groups that we continue to do. Every fisher landing site has an officer attached to them. For me, I facilitate Stowe, Sufre, Scott's Head, all the way down to Layu. Every week I am on the landing sites. You also have the persons from environmental health advocating for post-harvest practices. So we just encourage our fishers. We know that they go out to sea with ice, but when they land their fish, they have to ensure that they vend in a manner, or they protect that product from the elements. And what we always forget is that the consumer, after purchasing that fish from the fisher, you cannot take that fish, have it in a bag, leave it in your vehicle, you stop, in a few bars, you have a drink, and then you get home and you say, that fish has told me bad fish. No, the handling process, you have to treat fish like food. If you had yogurts, you'd come to DBS and you'd store it in the fridge. If you have fish, you do not leave it to deteriorate in your vehicle. You also, as the consumer, have a responsibility to yourself and protecting your health. And so you have to treat fish as food. Ensure you ice, ensure you carry a cooler, or if you are in a tight position, you purchase fish and you go straight home. So again, we continue to educate, advocate. We are coming up with new and improved technology. We are increasing our trainings. Right now, we're collaborating with Environmental Health to go to fishers on their sites. You do not have to come to Roseau or Fancy Room. We take the we partner with the environmental officers and we go to the site to have food handler sessions for our fisher folk at their sites. And so we continue to partner with them and do the utmost best that we can with the resources that we have to ensure that post-harvest and handling practices are up to par.
Yeah.
Anything you'd want to add on this, Marinese,
No,
especially
that
as
point she made about the food safety of the fish
That is
is very
critical, yeah.
important. And I mean, it is a very fragile and delicate food item, and therefore it has to be treated as such. So what you want to encourage people, if you are in town shopping, right, you go to the fish market, you purchase your fish, but you have to go to 2 different supermarkets. You could either ask the person, the vendor, to please hold the fish for you there until you return, if you have that kind of relationship with the person. And then when you're fruit shopping all over the place, you pick up your fish and you go home. And when you get home, you don't just put it in the kitchen sink. You have to start preparation of the fish for storage or for immediate use. So I think that is a very important, because our fishers are very important to us. They face a lot of risk on the seas. While we're at our home watching our television, they're risking their lives to get the fish to us. When they bring it to us, they bring it safe. But we, in the end, do not utilize the fish properly, and therefore we do not get the benefit of the fish.
And and even we as buyers, so if we go to the market, we also have to be cognizant of the fact that we always have to have at the back of our mind, doing it right. Nutrition policy, all of that has to be at the forefront, for our thinking. How do we take care of what we buy as well? So you may buy some guavas, for instance, but the guava was on a crocker's bag on the ground. Right, so what do you do when you go to boil your guavas or whatever? Of course, you have to wash it properly, and things like that. The peppers may be on the ground as well on a bag, but you have to wash it properly. So there are a lot of things that all of us have to play a part in this to ensure that we get it right.
Definitely.
Okay, so we're going to have closing remarks soon. What I did not ask, please just say it when you're giving your closing remarks. We have an outside broadcast coming up very shortly. And so let's go with you, Zephyr, as we end, because we said at the beginning, we sounded that call for citizens, for stakeholders to actively participate in activities for World Food Day, because we have to put our hands together. We have to join forces to ensure that we get it right, that we make use of the food that we have, and we also always consider that there are people who do not have food. So think of them as well.
Yes.
So as we end, your closing remarks.
So today, as we commemorate World Food Day 2025, let us affirm the shared vision that we have. And all we need to remember today is hand in hand. And that means that we support our local farmers and fishers. We buy local, we eat seasonal, and we value their work. Let us place some value on their work today. Let us, if we're on the field, let us protect our soil. Let us protect our water. Let us protect our forests. Let us reduce waste at home and in our restaurants. In addition to that, let us ensure that no one in our community goes hungry. We like to think of starvation when we see it on the TV, but that is our way to, that is what we can do. Ensure that no one in our community goes hungry. Let us encourage youth in agriculture. I'm Naya. I'll continue to advocate for the youth and women. I like that now when we apply for projects, they say that we have to have women and indigenous people for us to receive funding. So we start to consider everybody, especially when we speak of fisheries. Sometimes we just think of the men out there doing the hard labor, but the women in the fish markets, the women that do the processing, the women that add value, I mean, both in farming, agriculture, and fisheries. Today we want to celebrate you and what you offer to the agricultural sector. And so today we're just remembering that food is more than curbing that little growl in your stomach. Food for us, especially now post-Hurricane Maria, is that we start to think resilience. We start to think reduce, reuse, recycle. We start to think that my neighbor hungry today now, how can I assist? And we add value to the sector. If we add value to the sector, we have that hand-in-hand approach. We start to become more innovative, and we see that it is our business, not Ministry of Agriculture business, not fisheries business, but our business.
We take ownership.
Exactly. We take ownership and we work towards building a resilient Dominica. So if another Maria, we hope it doesn't ever touch us. We know that we have secured our food channels. We have those salty products and we have those crops. We are good to stand on our own as a small island developing state. So happy World Food Day to you. Let us work hand in hand.
Wow,
yes, hand
that's
in
good.
hand, and for better foods and a better future. So when we do things together, the results will be, better as well. So the future, let us look ahead with hope. Dominica is on the right track where our food is concerned, where our sustainability is concerned, and where our food security is concerned. But we, the consumers, have an important role to play in how we utilize the foods that we have, how it benefits us nutritionally, and how we can conserve and preserve whatever that we have.
Thank you, ladies. It was a pleasure. I
Thank
really
you for
enjoyed
having
it.
us.
Happy World Food Day to you.
You
too.
too.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Okay, so that's where we come to the end of the discussion this morning. As I said, we have an outside broadcast coming up shortly. Stay tuned. Listen to DBS Radio.
Nice fishing.
Buy one, get one free.
I want some parsley. Come, miss my lady, winning nice parsley.